Welcome to Tootsie Tuesday here at Naked News. I'm Angel Banks.
And I'm Cecilia Summer. We're celebrating the feet in all their glory today, so keep an eye out for our famous foot cam.
Besides our toes, we've got a lot going on today, including more insight from our Hong Kong correspondent, Yo-Yo Wu.
Plus, we've got a classic clip featuring Kat and Hannah doing a pretty funny topless prank.
And of course, Hot Topics is back in the wrap-up. But to start things off, Cecilia, I've got a question for you. How scared are you of sharks?
I am pretty terrified of sharks and the open ocean in general. Even though I did watch a documentary which says they're quite harmless and docile, I still get freaked out going in the ocean every time.
Right? I love the ocean, but I just don't like when anything touches my feet, when the ocean tries to touch me back. I don't like that. Well, historically, shark attacks are quite rare. But try and tell that to the people of Australia right now.
4 shark attacks in 48 hours is enough to keep people out of the ocean. Tia's in the Naked Newsroom with the story.
Australia's east coast has shut dozens of beaches after a sudden cluster of shark attacks, including multiple incidents near Sydney. It's prompted widespread safety warnings and swimming bans up and down the coast. Heavy rain has left coastal waters murky, conditions that can draw sharks closer to the shore. Officials have urged beachgoers to avoid the ocean and consider pools instead. Emergency responders have treated several people for injuries from shark bites, and authorities are monitoring the coastline as summer in Australia continues. In other news, a severe winter storm triggered a massive 100-vehicle pileup on Interstate 196 in western Michigan on Monday. Heavy lake effect snow and whiteout conditions blanketed the road, causing the massive pileup. State police shut down both directions of the highway as emergency crews worked the scene and transported multiple injured motorists to hospitals. Thankfully, no fatalities were reported. Snow squalls and bitter Arctic air gripping the region led officials to warn drivers to avoid travel amid continued hazardous conditions. And a big congratulations goes out to the Indiana Hoosiers, who capped off a historic perfect season by winning their first national title. Indiana beat the Miami Hurricanes 27-21 in the college football playoff title game, finishing 16-0, and completing one of college football's most remarkable turnarounds. Heisman Trophy winning quarterback Fernando Mendoza delivered a clutch fourth down touchdown run that proved decisive in the late stages, sealing the victory and cementing the Hoosiers' place atop the sport. What a game and a perfect season, no less. Quite the accomplishment. I'll be back with more headlines later in the show. Don't go away.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back. In today's video, I would like to compare Instagram and the Chinese Communism Party. Yes, one is an app from a free world, however, the other one is a system from a dictator's country. Maybe you will think it's ridiculous to compare these two, however, I'd like to say, when I use Instagram, I found these two have so many things in common. Let's see them. The first thing is unfairness. When we use Instagram, it says we're using the same rules for everyone on this planet. No, it's a lie. Because these are what I saw. And these are what I have got. You can see this lady is indeed beautiful. She is showing her body, nipples, boobs, and butts almost every day. However, she has got millions of followers and made tons of money. I wish I could do that, but I can't. But sometimes when I show my belly, no other things, then my stories and my posts will either be deleted or the system will warn me saying that my account cannot be recommended to non-followers because some of my content violated the rules and my content was labeled with nudity or something sexual. And what is even more ridiculous is that most of the time there is no appeal button for me. So it means even if I think I'm treated unfairly, there is no way for me to get things changed. That's why the only thing I need to say is, okay, I delete that. So in China, most of the people are normal people, but for people who are rich enough and can bring enough resources or benefits to the government, they are treated quite well. Even if sometimes they did bad things or broke the laws, the government will still make sure they are always safe, just like those users with millions of followers, because they made enough money for the company. That's why the system will always protect these users and they can break the laws because they're rich. The second thing is the unclear rules. When we use Instagram, you will see some of the pages are having some content which is not the same with other pages. So one of the rules about nudity and sexuality is that we cannot show our butt. But on other pages, we will see we can show our butt, but just no close-up photos. So these are not the same, and people will get confused about that. And sometimes if we try, for example, I post one of my hip photos to my reels or my stories, sometimes the system will say it violated our rules, but sometimes the system ignored. So reading or trying, we cannot get the standard answer. We don't know where the age or the boundary is. But for those people I just mentioned, if they're rich enough, they have enough followers, they can post whatever they want. But for normal people, if we do not want to get banned, the best thing to do is to avoid all of the posts like that. In China, if you read China laws, you will see you cannot do A, you cannot do B, you cannot do C, and you cannot do others, or you will be sent into the jail. So what does that mean? Because the fourth one, others, the laws will never tell us what others are. So sometimes if we read, we will think, oh, if I do not do anything, then I will be safe. Because by reading others, those others, we will think it's dangerous. And if we try, what if we're really sent into the jail? So people will be afraid of the rules, and only those people who are having good enough relationship with the government, they can do the things they want. Normal people, we are being careful almost every day.
Breaking the law, breaking the law, breaking the law, breaking the law.
The third one is the complex and troublesome appealing system. So if we report other people's posts, then if that reported user, he or she is having enough followers, because I just mentioned, their accounts were always protected by the system. Sometimes it takes weeks or even months for us to get the result. And the result is, sorry, we didn't find anything violating our rules. Then there is a button called Request Review. If you click on that, it takes at least 10 or even 20 seconds for you to get the result of submission. But do not think that you're done, because most of the time, request button is not working normally. We have to click again and make sure the submission is already submitted. If not, then we did everything in vain. And maybe later on, after another several weeks or several months, we will see, sorry, the system found that this post is normal. And sometimes they will ask us to fill in a form, and we have to provide too much information on that. First is when did you see that, and what country it came from, and also what kind of languages it involves, and the reason why you were giving this information to us. So you have to type so many things. But I tried, and several months has passed. No one is answering me. So if it takes too many steps for us to request a review, most of the people will think it's too complex, and eventually they will just give up. In China, if someone is treated unfairly, for example, I failed at the court, there is another department not our law offices, but this department has something to do with the reputation. So if I failed at the court, then I think my voice needed to be heard, then I can just go to this department. I don't know how to say that in English, but let's just call it reputation department. So when I go there, they will never tell us what kind of materials we should prepare. So most of the time we have to take all of the materials with us. And they will not help us to make photocopies, so we have to make sure each real copy is copied at least 2 or 3 times with us, so really heavy. And then because our cell phones and our apps and also our telephone numbers, these are being monitored by the government. So to avoid more troubles, before going to the reputation department, most of the people were already hit or arrested by the police because they're giving people hope. We have a department for you. If you want to make your voice be heard, just come to us. But on the way to the department, because it's in Beijing, for people who are not living there, they have to travel all the way to Beijing. But in the middle, maybe they're already blocked by the cops. And even if they made it and they come to Beijing, however, they have to wait for hours or even days at the door just to submit their letters. And it takes another couple of months or even years to get another bad result. So that's all for my sharing for today. I hope you can understand how I feel because I was treated unfairly on that app and I lost my account. But luckily we have apps and we have Naked News. So just keep your subscription and see you soon in my next video.
Hi everybody, Kate Max here, and I am so stoked to be doing my very first show on Tempted.com for Naked News Live. I will be showing you how to turn your body into a work of art using just a canvas, some paint, maybe or maybe not a paintbrush, will probably be finger painting, and the end result is something you can definitely put on your wall. So make sure you join me at Tempted.com with Naked News Live on January the 21st at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. See you there!
Of you newer members who might be wondering why Kate Max looks so familiar, it's because she was a longtime anchor here on Naked News who went by the name Carly Bay.
There are quite a few clips of her in the archives, so be sure to check them out and watch her Naked News Live on Wednesday.
All right, next up, speaking of our archives, it's time for another classic feature from the vault.
Our pick today is from Stan writing to us from Warsaw, Poland. He says, I was so happy to hear Hannah Oreo had her new bundle of joy, and it reminded me of her time at Naked News and some of the amazing segments she took part in, like the time she pulled a topless prank on people a few years ago. I don't know the exact date or even the year, but I'd love for you to show that segment again.
Well, we've got you covered, Stan. That segment originally aired in 2016, and fun fact, also featured Kat Curtis.
You know what? A topless prank featuring Hannah and her enormous boobs can only be described as epic.
Agreed. And we're about to see just how epic because here it is again.
Hey everyone, I'm Catherine Curtis, and today we're going naked in the streets to have some fun with everyone's favorite guest anchor, Hannah. Her breasts are worthy of UNESCO World Heritage Site status, and people always have crazy reactions to seeing them. We decided to send her out to play a little prank where she asks for directions and then unleashes her spectacular golden globes on an unsuspecting public.
I had to have the same thing for breakfast, lunch, and dinner every day for the rest of my life, hands down, I would choose a sandwich. But where do I find the best sandwich? Today I'm comparing Jersey Mike's versus Subway. I'm Isabella Rossini, and this is the Naked Food Review.
Okay, Cecilia, you do a lot of traveling. So what do you think about flying these days, with airlines seemingly doing their damnedest to make it as miserable as possible for everyone not in first class?
Oh, it's so true. I have flown first class once and it was so plush. They were so attentive. Not like when you're in the peasant passenger seats.
Right? Everyone on the plane pays to be there, so I feel like everyone should be treated respectfully, but I feel like they just don't care unless you're first class.
Yep.
Well, one airline's latest move caused so much passenger outrage and bad publicity that they were forced to reverse course.
Tia's back in the Naked Newsroom with the details.
Canadian airline WestJet recently reconfigured some of its Boeing 737s to add an extra row of seats, resulting in even less legroom. As in, the distance from the back of one seat to the back of the next one was just 28 inches with no recline. Videos went viral showing miserable passengers with their knees jammed into seat backs. The reaction was so strong that WestJet has announced it will be going back to its previous configuration. Score one for Flyers. Oh, finally. Congratulations to MSG boss James Dolan. He's moving ahead with plans for a second U.S. Sphere Entertainment venue. It'll be near Washington, D.C. at National Harbor in Prince George's County, Maryland. The new site would be a 6,000-seat immersive arena using the same cutting-edge LED screens, sound, and 4D tech that made the Las Vegas Sphere a global draw. Dolan said the goal is to expand a global network of spheres, with the Maryland location expected to generate significant economic activity and year-round entertainment. And finally today, the American Academy of Pediatrics says that limiting children's screen time is no longer enough to keep kids safe. The Academy's new guidelines acknowledge that some screen time on appropriate sites and platforms can be beneficial, especially when done with parents or caregivers. But the group wants to see more investment in public resources, giving families alternatives to screens, like after-school programs, libraries, and parks. Plus, the creation of better safety standards for the digital world. Those sound like pretty reasonable recommendations to me. That's a wrap on today's headlines. For Naked News, I'm Tia LaRose.
I don't think kids should be having so much screen time. Like, I don't remember the last time I saw kids actually outside running around playing.
I know what you mean. I feel like back in the day, like we didn't have the same access to that, and I think we all turned out pretty okay. I'm a little bit scared for this generation.
Me too. All right, Cecilia, it's time for this week's Hot Topics. This week's Hot Topic was inspired by current events. We've seen a bunch of news stories about athletes and people connected to teams allegedly betting on games or doing things to help people win their bets.
Because there are so many betting sites offering a prop bets and the like, players don't have to tank a whole game. They can just say, oh, throw the first pitch of the inning into the dirt, and someone out there can make a small fortune on it and split it with the player. Tell me, Angel, do you ever bet on sports at all?
Me personally, I'm not a big gambler in general, and I probably would because I've seen all the money. I just don't understand it.
No, I 100% agree with you. It's definitely like a big industry if you're doing it, but it can go really bad really fast.
Right? Would you rather bet on sports or like something like silly and fun with your friends?
I think something silly and fun. There might not be any money in it, but more enjoyable.
No stakes.
No stakes.
Okay, I totally agree.
So does the massive rise of betting sites and crazy betting options make you worry about players giving into the lure of easy money?
I definitely think it does. I feel like no one really cares about the sport itself anymore. Everyone's just in it for the money. So like no one's actually playing the sport just for the love of the game anymore.
Yeah, there's no integrity. I 100% agree with you
right?
there.
Totally. Well, we wanted to know what our fans had to say on the subject, and it seems that 68% of people said yes. Sports betting may damage the integrity of games. Is that what you would have expected?
Yeah, that's about more than half, so I think that makes sense.
Right, totally agree.
Well, the genie is probably way too far out of the bottle to ever go back in, so we'll just have to see how leagues and the law deal with it all.
Thank Thanks to everyone who cast a vote in our Hot Topic poll. There's a fresh new poll already up on our X and Instagram accounts, so make sure to head on over and let us know what you think.
And don't forget to tune in tomorrow for our terrific Way Back Wednesday edition. We're going way back to July of 2010, featuring a locker talk with Michelle Pantoliano and Rachel Simmons naked in the streets.
See you then, and take care, everyone.
Bye.